fourth grade. So today we're going to talk about fueling up for breakfast. A couple of reminders before we start. Don't forget that you need to send in your packet on Monday your homework from the last lesson, Dinner Detectives and Smart Snackers. Make sure that's in your packet when it's returned so that I can get that graded and then it can go into our stuff. All right. So fueling up for breakfast. When we eat breakfast, we need to eat 3 of the 5 food groups. And we kind of get some choices. One of the groups is not an option. We really need to have a grain. We need to remember that when we have been sleeping overnight and we had dinner at like 5 or 6, maybe even 7 o'clock at the night before, we've gone 10, 11, maybe even 12 hours since we've eaten. And then our bodies don't have the nutrients and the energy it needs. How would you feel coming to school without having had breakfast? What would be the consequences? Would you feel tired? I know I get a headache if I don't eat breakfast. What about you? What are some other things? Would you have the energy for recess? Probably not. Okay. So eating breakfast is actually one of the most important meals. It gives us the energy we need and the ability that we need to learn, to play, to concentrate, to think. Without the nutrients that breakfast gives us, we can't do those things. So the first food group that we really need to eat for breakfast is the grain, since that's our energy food. That's not an optional one. That's the one that we need the most. Then we have a couple of choices. In group 2, we actually get to choose, are we going to have a fruit or are we going to have a vegetable? So we have plus a fruit or a vegetable. We also get to choose for group 3 whether we want to have a protein or whether we want to have a milk or milk product. Remember, our protein is our meat, beans, and nuts group. Now I'm going to step behind the camera and we're going to look at a couple of breakfasts that I have on the board. And I want you to look at them and let's decide whether that has all of the food groups that we need. In our first one there, we have pancakes, milk, and syrup. Okay, we have a grain and we have a milk. What about syrup? Does syrup count as anything? Not really. Syrup is that extras. So that one is not a complete or a balanced breakfast. Let's look at the next one. Okay, we have a donut, an apple, and some soda. The only thing that really counts from a food group there is our apple. Not a good balanced breakfast. Let's look at the next one. We have scrambled eggs and rice. Scrambled eggs is our protein, so that one's a good one. We have rice, but we're missing something. What group are we missing? What could you add to make that a balanced breakfast? Wouldn't be too hard to add something to, even a glass of orange juice would then give you a balanced breakfast. The next one up here, one bowl, but we have a whole grain cereal, we have milk, and we have berries. Okay, we have our grain, we have berries, we have milk. That one is a balanced breakfast. What about this one over here? This one, they have celery. Where does celery come from? Celery's in our vegetables. Peanut butter. Peanut butter comes from our protein. And milk. I mean, yogurt. So we have a close to good meal there. If there were more fruit in there, that would help. but we don't have a grain, which is our food that gives us the most energy. And our last meal over here. It looks like we have a leftover cheese pizza, and we have some orange juice. Cheese pizza. Well, we have a grain for the crust. We have a vegetable because of our tomato sauce, and we have a milk and milk product with the cheese. Then we also have a bonus one. We have our orange juice. So we really only have 2 meals up there that give us our 3 out of 5 model. Remember, the 3 out of 5 is a grain. We get to choose a fruit or a vegetable, milk, and protein. So we have our required of a grain, we get to choose a fruit or a vegetable, and we get to choose a milk or a protein. So here's the next question. Do I only have to eat 3 of the 5? No, I can have all 5 food groups if I want to for breakfast. It doesn't hurt. In fact, that helps us make it easier to get all of the number of nutrients that we need and all of the servings that we need. But we need at least 3 of the 5. So when you look at your homework, on your booklets, on page 23, part 1 asks, is it balanced? We have 3 choices there. One is a slice of whole wheat bread with peanut butter, a piece of cantaloupe, and a yogurt. Our option 2 is an omelet with eggs and vegetables and cheese and apple juice. And option 3 is oatmeal with nuts and water. I want you to take and circle which one of those is a balanced breakfast. Which one has at least 3 of the 5, using our 3 of the 5 model. Write the number, circle it, write the number on under number 1, and then I want you to write me 2 sentences describing that breakfast and telling me why it is a balanced breakfast. Then down below, this is a little bit harder part. I'm going to put my glasses on so I can see it better. We're going to look at our physical activity for just a few minutes. We need how many minutes a day of exercise to actually give us the cardiorespiratory workouts that we need? Do you remember? We need 60. Okay, so on this down below, it gives us examples of exercises people are doing. And we need to look at, are they doing vigorous to moderate exercise, or are they doing low exercise? Vigorous to moderate, remember, that is something that's going to raise our heart rate. So when we look at the example for us, it says 30 minutes of playing video games. Does that raise our heart rate? 15 minutes of skateboarding. That one's pretty good. And 30 minutes of playing baseball. So if we add up the minutes that are considered vigorous, moderate to vigorous, we're going to have 45 minutes. And they show us there, 45 minutes. Did they meet the 60 minutes a day? Then you would circle the no over here. And they give us an example of an exercise we could add. If we look at the other 3 things there, Kelly, Mary, and David, I want you to go through and I want you to figure out who has done at least 60 minutes of the vigorous or moderate to vigorous exercise a day. Add up the minutes that they do those. Write those down in the second column. If they meet the vigorous to moderate, you're going to circle yes. If they do not, circle no. If you circle no, I want you to add in at the last column an exercise that they could do or something they could do to give them those last however minutes they need, whether they need 30 or 15 or 10, whatever they need to give them the 60 minutes a day of exercise. Then on the back, you have a fun opportunity. How many of you have ever heard of Dear Abby? Well, Dear Abby used to be a big thing in the newspapers. So you would write in, if you had a concern or were worried about something, you would write into Dear Abby, and she would do some research and she would write you back. And people usually didn't sign their own names. They signed their names differently. So if I were to sign it, I could say the worried PE teacher, or whatever my topic is about. It would be to that idea. Well, Dear Abby, you get to write as though you were Abby. And here's the scenario. Underneath is a letter that somebody wrote to Abby, and you get to be Abby, and you get to write back to this girl. Her name is also Abby, and she says, "Hi, I'm a 9-year-old, and lately I've been really tired. I can't seem to concentrate when I'm in school. I get up every morning at 7:30, take a shower, brush my teeth and my hair, and race off to school, which starts at 8 a.m. I'm never late. Once I'm in class, I get distracted easily. I can't seem to pay attention to what the teacher is saying. By recess, I'm so tired, all I do is watch my friends play soccer. After school, I have to walk my sister home. When we get home, we watch TV and play games on the computer until my parents get home and we make dinner. Because we are so busy watching TV and playing on our computer, we don't really have time to be physically active. I'm tired of feeling so sluggish and uninterested. Help. How can I pay more attention in class and not feel so tired all of the time? Sincerely, Abby." Here's your assignment. I need you to take and write back to Abby and give her some suggestions of things that she can do to be healthier. When we looked at that, was she getting enough physical activity? Was she eating right? Figure that out. Write back as though you were Abby and tell her what she needs to do. There's also a family activity. And I need you to do one more thing. I need you to turn clear back to page, I think it's page 29, because we're going to need this for our next lesson. This is a daily record. What I want you to do is I want you to fill out everything you're eating for one day. It doesn't matter what day it is, just remember to write it all down. There's also a place to keep track of your physical activity. We're going to use this for our next lesson. If you have questions, send me an email. See you guys. I miss you.